Hello Fearless Gamers, Matt here for Fearless Games, and welcome to another video review. And today's review is going to be on the Tabletop Stronghold MagCase 2.0. Before we start this video, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. That way you know when more of these videos come out. Hit that little bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when these videos come out. And give this video a like. That way it gets out there and circulates more. And I can also see what content you guys really want to see. This helps me out greatly with deciding what kind of video content to give to you guys. And like I said, it helps out the channel a lot. And we really appreciate it if you could do that. So, with that out of the way, let's continue with the video. Now that you have your army all painted and ready to go, you're going to need a way to transport to and from the battlefield. And the two major ways of doing it, or most popular ways of transporting them, is with either foam trays or magnetic trays. Foam trays are, as it sounds, you get a bag. Foam trays, usually typically pluck foam, or if you go to battle foam, you can get custom cut pre-cut shapes to better fit the miniatures to get more space out of the trays. Put it in a bag and there you go. And then there's the magnetic tray method, which is where you have a metal sheet, put magnets on the bottoms of your minis' bases and stick them to the metal sheets. The foam has the added benefit of keeping the miniatures in a soft foam case, protecting the paint job in a lot of ways. In a lot of cases, and keeping a lot of fiddly bits from breaking off, like spears and spikes and crap like that. However, they tend to take up a lot of room, and so you end up needing a lot of cases if you have a very big army like me. The magnetic tray trick has the benefit that you can fit more minis onto a tray because you can get them really close to each other. But you may not want to trust it with something like a tank or something with a lot of fiddly bits, because it just one wrong move, and if the magnet isn't strong enough, it could cause chaos while transporting it. However, in recent times, with how much space that I have in my home and just how many bags I've been transporting to and from games, I decided that it was time for a change. And so I went with the magnetic tray setup. And after doing some research and looking at different products, I chose to go with the Tabletop Stronghold boxes. And there was a couple of reasons for this. First and foremost, it's easy to construct. There's no glue or nails or anything like that used to put this together. It's simply just a couple of bolts and screws, bolts and nuts, lock together, keeping the whole thing in one piece, and it is nice and solid. I do not fear that this thing's going to be break. Even when I transport it, when I pick it up and move it, it's really solid. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. And it does hold quite a lot. It is a little pricier than some of those cases out there, but I think it's for good reason. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Another thing is they have really good customer service. Sometimes they may take a little bit of time to get back to you with emails, but they always get back to you, and they are willing to go the extra mile to make sure you're a satisfied customer. Like, for example, if you find you don't have enough trays, or if you want to have multiple trays and just take out the armies as you need them, you can contact them and ask them after the fact to buy more trays, and they will sell them to you at varying cost price depending on how many you want, which is something I really enjoy, because I know a lot of these cases, it's a one and done kind of deal, and I'm not a big fan of that, because one of my plans is to get a bunch of trays, put all the different armies in them, and then just grab the armies as I want and throw it in the tray. Maybe. Still debating on if I'll do that. I might still do a nice display case. And storage was the big factor in using this. So right here, these are all the battle foam trays that I managed to fit into this army box. And you can see that it goes a little past halfway from the top of this box here. So this is quite a bit of foam. This was in 2 battle foam bags. And the space that I have in here is impressive. I was not expecting this, but this is everything. As you can see, it's got a nice clear acrylic sheet for the front so you can see the army. So it also functions as a display case. And also, it's got these wooden sticks to prevent the trays from sliding forward when you're in transport, keeping the trays nice and secure. And all of that is fitting in this case, and you can see here, like, I've got a little bit of space left on this tray, I have quite a bit of space left on this tray, and I have all of this space left to go. This is all of my main Craft World miniatures are in this case. So it holds a lot of minis. And like I said, they are perfectly well secured in there. Some of them shift around a little bit. That's primarily because the magnets aren't dead center and these guys are made of metal. But I am confident I can put this thing completely vertical and they are not moving. And all I had to do was I put some baking paper down just to make myself feel better, but put the magnet on the tray, cover it in a little bit of hot glue, slot the mini's base right on top of the hot glue, and there you go. Pretty simple. Some miniatures may need more than one magnet, like a lot of my metal minis need more than one magnet. Surprisingly, the Wraithguard didn't need them, even though they're bigger models using larger bases, but they're pretty thin and spindly, so probably put into account, like, unlike some of the other big miniatures on 40mm bases, there's not a whole lot of plastic on them. And as you can see, I've got all of these guys in here as well. And it holds a lot of miniatures. I can put some extra guys in here. I honestly feel like I would, if I was to run an APOC game and have all of my Eldar in, I feel like if I were going to go to an Apocalypse game with all of my Eldar, 2 of these boxes would be more than enough to carry all my guys. And one of the and as I was saying, with storage, it holds quite a bit, and that was a major factor when looking at other cases, because while other cases were cheaper, this one had one nice design to it that I liked over the others. Now, a lot of the cases have the ability to adjust the shelves, but they leave quite a big gap because they're factoring in if you play Knights, if you play a lot of Wraithguard, Wraith Lords and such, they're trying to make sure you have enough room between the trays, which is good, but this results in a lot of space not being able to be used. Because if you've got like a bunch of guardsmen, you can fill this case up with a ton of guardsmen or Marines. But if the shelves are so far apart, there's going to be a lot of empty space that that's just being wasted there. That's the reason why I like this tray, because we'll just turn this side here. All of these little slots, that is a shelf that you could potentially have in here. So depending on your army composition, Space Marines for 30K or Battletech minis, you can fit a lot of miniatures in this case, and it's perfectly customizable to get, no matter which army you use, to get the maximum amount of space plausible in this case, which is the one thing I really liked. A lot of them, they would have to be like a shelf here, then the next shelf would be up here, then the next shelf would be up here, then the next shelf would be up here. So you couldn't compress down the storage if you just do a lot of infantrymen, which is why I went with this guy. It is a little bit more money, but the sheer fact that I can get maximum storage out of this, greater than any of the other cases that I found, is what really sold me on this. I wouldn't trust this with tanks well, maybe Space Marine tanks and stuff that is on treads and lies on the table itself probably be fine, but I'm not trusting this with my flight stand grav tanks or my jet bikes. I'm probably going to still keep a battle foam bag for tanks, Wraith Lords, the really big things that would just take up way too much space in this case. But for regular, just plain old infantry, foot sloggers, this case is going to be my new transport system, and it is just amazing. I will leave a link in the description so you can check them out. Their prices are fairly reasonable. If you live in the US, shipping is free, which is great. And yeah, what do you guys think? Any of you guys have this? What do you like? What do you don't like? What particular case transport system do you prefer to go with? Let me know in the comments. I love to hear about that. And once again, thank you all for watching. And until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.